The situation at Rangers Football Club is nothing short of explosive right now. What started as a rough patch on the pitch has quickly snowballed into a full-blown crisis that's reached the very top of the club's hierarchy. While results and performances have left much to be desired, it's the latest development off the pitch that's really turning heads across Glasgow. The chairman, Andrew Kavanagh, has suddenly found himself under a glaring spotlight, and what happens next could define the short-term future of Rangers Football Club. Tensions have been building for weeks, but now, with Kavanagh stepping into the public eye during his visit to Glasgow, the pressure is boiling over. Supporters have already made their feelings crystal clear, voicing frustration and anger over the club's direction, both in terms of leadership and what they're seeing on the pitch. This week's reveal, confirming that Kavanagh will be present at the Europa League clash with Genk, adds even more fuel to the fire. Fans aren't just watching the matches anymore. They're watching the boardroom, looking for answers, leadership, and perhaps accountability. Let's rewind to the weekend, where things started to shift slightly. Rangers managed to pull off a win over Hibernian in the Premier Sports Cup quarterfinal, a result that may have brought some temporary relief, but certainly not peace. Head coach Russell Martin, under immense pressure, admitted that the feeling wasn't exactly joy. It was more of a sigh of relief. After failing to win in 5 straight matches, a 2-0 result felt like oxygen. But make no mistake, this is still a club on edge. Supporters haven't just been booing poor results. They've been protesting. Banners, chants, and even a dramatic moment during the match where hundreds of rubber balls were thrown onto the pitch have made it abundantly clear that the Ibrox faithful are fed up. Their frustration is not just about results. It's about the direction the club is heading in. That's what makes Andrew Kavanagh's visit so significant. He isn't just here to watch a game. He's here during one of the most fragile periods in recent Rangers history. It's understood that Kavanagh's visit was planned ahead of time, with the Hibernian match on his calendar for weeks. But the timing, amid growing unrest and a shaky start to the campaign, couldn't be more intense. Since arriving, he's seen it all firsthand. The chance for Martin to step down, the pressure on CEO Patrick Stewart, and a team trying to scrape together confidence and rhythm in front of a divided fan base. This is not the calm, composed environment any chairman would want to walk into, but it's the one he's got. The Rangers board is expected to hold a meeting before the Genk match, one that's been scheduled for some time, and all signs point to continued backing for Russell Martin. That, in itself, is a gamble. The coach remains unpopular with a significant section of the fan base, and many feel that the team's performances under his leadership have been nowhere near the standard expected at Ibrox. Still, Kavanagh appears to believe in the project, or at least, believes in giving Martin a chance to prove himself. Martin, for his part, is trying to project calm and focus. He's acknowledged the chaos around him, but insists the players are concentrating on the football. In his own words, he's urged everyone connected to the club to see Saturday's win as a possible turning point. Not a solution, but maybe a moment to build from. He knows this team can be powerful when it finds belief. And belief is something Rangers have been lacking since the very first whistle of this campaign. There's also been a deeply personal layer to Martin's recent interviews. He's spoken about difficult family matters that have affected him this past week, offering a reminder that even football managers are human beings going through things off the pitch. He admitted the matchday protest, rubber balls flying during the team talk, was a surreal moment, but one he couldn't let distract him or the squad. And to his credit, once the match settled, Rangers showed flashes of what they're capable of. Still, it's impossible to talk about that match without circling back to the protest. The images of fans disrupting play, calling for the manager's head, and confronting the board with public displays of disapproval were more than just passionate support. They were a warning. A statement that the fanbase is no longer content to sit back and watch things unfold in silence. They want change, or at the very least, they want answers. That brings us back to Andrew Kavanagh. His presence at Ibrox right now isn't just symbolic, it's strategic. He's here to witness the atmosphere, to take the temperature of the support, and to assess what needs to be done to steady the ship. It's not clear yet whether that means a change in management, a shake-up at the executive level, or something else entirely. But what is clear is that doing nothing is no longer an option. Meanwhile, amidst all the noise and chaos, there are small sparks of positivity. Theo Isgard, The young Norwegian playmaker brought in from Luton Town over the summer is beginning to justify the £3.5 million price tag attached to his name. Against Hibernian, he looked electric, full of energy, creativity, and that fearless mentality that fans love to see in a number 10. His father even described Ibrox as the most incredible football atmosphere he's ever experienced, and by all accounts, the player is loving life in Glasgow. It hasn't been smooth for Asgard. He suffered a frustrating injury before the season even began, missing out on early opportunities to bed into the squad. But now that he's fit, he's making up for lost time, and quickly. He's already bagged 4 goals for Norway in a recent 11-1 demolition of Moldova, and that confidence has clearly carried over to club football. With Lyle Cameron providing competition for that central role, Asgard's rise is exactly the kind of internal battle that pushes performance standards higher. In fact, when you look at the midfield options Rangers have now, there's reason for cautious optimism. Nicholas Raskin marked his return to the starting 11 with a goal, playing in a deeper number 6 role that Martin had previously avoided using him in. That shift in positioning might just be the key to unlocking his full potential, and it could also be the change that helps Mohamed Diomande find his best form again. Diomande has been another player affected by the team's struggles, but with Raskin pulling the strings from deep and Asgard driving forward, the balance in midfield finally looks more promising. Of course, none of this erases the poor start. Statistically, this has been Rangers' worst league opening since the late 1970s, and that's a cloud hanging over Martin's entire tenure. But football is about momentum, and with just a few consistent performances, the narrative can shift quickly. That's exactly what Martin is banking on, and it's exactly what the chairman will be looking for as he watches from the stands tonight. As Rangers prepare to face Genk in their Europa League opener, the stakes feel much bigger than just a group stage fixture. This match is about more than points. It's about tone, message, and belief. A good performance under the lights at Ibrox could be the spark this club needs to begin turning things around. And with Andrew Kavanagh watching closely, the message from the pitch might carry all the way to the boardroom. While the match against Genk stands as a pivotal moment for the squad and coaching staff, it also represents something far greater. A public litmus test for how much patience remains among Rangers supporters, and perhaps even within the corridors of power at Ibrox. Everyone watching knows that another poor showing on European soil will only crank the pressure higher. Not just on Russell Martin, but on those above him, including Andrew Kavanagh, whose leadership is now under intense scrutiny. Historically, Rangers have always found a way to punch above their weight in European competition. The run to the Europa League final in 2022 remains fresh in the minds of supporters and players alike, and it's often pointed to as evidence that, even when domestic form dips, the club can still summon something special under the lights. Last season's quarterfinal exit to Athletic Bilbao was another example of how Rangers can carry themselves on the continental stage. That heritage, that expectation, is what makes this current campaign feel so jarring. It's not just about results. It's about identity, about how far the club has drifted from its own high standards. Russell Martin is clearly trying to tap into that European DNA. In his pre-match comments, he spoke passionately about the potential he sees in the group, highlighting the opportunity to create nights at Ibrox that players will never forget, moments that can define careers and rekindle belief. He's not making bold promises, but he is trying to shift the mindset, to move the focus away from fear and failure and back onto ambition. That's easier said than done, especially when you're dealing with a dressing room that's been shaken by weeks of uncertainty and a fan base that's been split down the middle. It doesn't help that the protests, as dramatic as they were, managed to overshadow what was actually a competent and controlled performance against Hibernian. For the first time in a long while, the team showed some balance, some bite in midfield, and a touch of creativity up top. Players like Asgard and Raskin brought quality and urgency, 2 traits that have been sorely lacking during the early stages of the season. But the noise around the club has made it almost impossible to celebrate that progress without an asterisk. Every step forward feels like it's being weighed against the threat of 2 steps back. That's why the match against Genk isn't just another fixture. It's a test of resilience. Not just for the players, but for the manager, the chairman, and everyone associated with Rangers. A win would not only bring some much-needed calm to Ibrox, it would also buy Martin more time, giving the board something to point to when questioned about their unwavering support. But a defeat, especially a heavy one, could be disastrous. The margin for error right now is razor thin. From what's been reported, the board meeting that's taken place ahead of the Genk clash has reaffirmed Kavanagh's belief in Martin. That stance, however, may not survive another implosion. Supporters have already demonstrated they're willing to make themselves heard in increasingly disruptive ways, and if things go wrong tonight, the pressure valve could burst completely. Kavanagh's role in this is crucial. His presence is both a show of support and a signal that he's taking a hands-on approach to this crisis. But if results don't follow, his leadership will face louder questions than ever. It's also worth noting how unusual it is for a chairman to be this involved, this visible, during such a turbulent period. Kavanagh's week-long visit to Glasgow hasn't just been about football, it's been about optics. About showing up, listening, and trying to get a grip on the situation from ground level. That can be seen as admirable or as an act of desperation, depending on how one views the situation. What's undeniable is that this visit has put him firmly in the spotlight, whether he likes it or not. Back on the pitch, the emergence of players like Theo Isgard provides a genuine reason for hope. He's not just showing flashes, he's showing consistency, stepping up at a time when others have faded. His ability to link midfield and attack, to carry the ball with confidence and pick out key passes, is exactly what Rangers have lacked. The fact that he's still only 23 and already looking like a leader in this team speaks volumes about both his potential and the club's investment in him. Nico Raskin's return also changes the dynamics. For weeks, Rangers have looked unbalanced in midfield, lacking a natural rhythm. But his deeper role against Hibs offered a clearer structure, giving others around him more freedom to express themselves. Mohamed Diomande, who struggled to settle into form, looked far more comfortable with Raskin anchoring the play. There's a sense now that Martin might have finally stumbled upon the right midfield blend, one that can dominate possession, press effectively, and support the attack without leaving the backline exposed. But all of this progress remains theoretical until it's backed up by performances on the pitch. Fans have heard enough talk. They've seen the interviews, read the statements, and watched the post-match pressers. What they want now is consistency, momentum, a reason to believe that this season can still be rescued. And that responsibility falls squarely on the shoulders of Russell Martin and his players, starting tonight. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to get all the exclusive news about Rangers FC. Don't overlook any details about your beloved team. It's crucial for Rangers FC fans. Whispers are swirling through the corridors of Ibrox that could shake Scottish football to its very core. According to sources close to the club, Rangers are on the brink of pulling off what would instantly become the most sensational signing in their storied history, Harry Kane. Yes, you read that right. The England captain, Tottenham talisman, and Premier League stalwart might soon be swapping London for Glasgow. The mere thought has fans on tenterhooks. Ibrox Park, usually awash with the blue and white of tradition, is reportedly buzzing with excitement, speculation, and a hint of disbelief. For years, the talk around Rangers transfers has tended towards cunning bargains and clever scouting. But Kane? This isn't a calculated move, it's a declaration of intent. The club is reportedly prepared to break the bank, rewriting transfer records and sending a clear message to the rest of Europe. Rangers are not messing about. Sources suggest negotiations have been delicate, with Kane's representatives weighing every angle, from wages to Champions League ambitions. The striker himself is said to be intrigued by the prospect of a new challenge, a chance to etch his name into Scottish football folklore, and an opportunity to embrace the fiery, passionate support only Rangers can offer. Imagine him leading the line at a packed Ibrox, the crowd roaring his name under the floodlights. It's the kind of image that turns casual supporters into lifelong believers. Of course, nothing is confirmed, and insiders warn caution. Football is full of dreams that never materialize, but the mere suggestion of Kane in a blue shirt has already sent social media into a frenzy. Debates rage across forums and pubs alike. Could Rangers genuinely lure a player of such caliber north of the border? If the deal goes through, it would shatter Scottish transfer records and elevate Rangers into an entirely new stratosphere, at least in the eyes of the footballing world. Whether this is a masterstroke in the making or merely the hottest of rumors, one thing is certain. Rangers supporters are on the edge of their seats. Harry Kane in Glasgow would not just be a signing. It would be a seismic event, a story to tell for generations, and a bold statement that Scottish football is, perhaps, ready to compete at a level few dared imagine. Keep your eyes peeled. Ibrox may never be the same again. Greetings, fans. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, as it's greatly appreciated by Rangers FC. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments section below. Until the next video, stay tuned.